this is one of their gods, right? So when you say they, this is they gods. They have their gods, and then what they do is they allow other people to put energy into their gods unknowingly or knowingly, but they just don't pay attention to it. So that means their god or gods or goddesses or whatever deities give power to them because they're the conduit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants the ball, right? Right. So Baal is a god from Sumer, from Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, pretty much where the Middle East is now, where all the commotion is always going on in regards to Iraq, Iran, and all that stuff, the Gulf, Middle East. It even spilled into Egypt later on. The oldest written civilization, as far as what they allow us to see, or what we've seen to this point in quote unquote history, is 6,000 years ago. So that's about 4,000 BC. So during that time, they worshipped homeboy here, Baal. He was a solar deity. It begins with the rise of Sumer. Ancient Near East begins with the rise of Sumer in the 4th millennium BC. So it's 2000 or whatever now, so they say. So that was 6,000 years ago, Bronze Age and stuff like that. All right, remember that. But understand that it is a Semitic BL. The forms in turn derive from the vowelless Northwest Semitic. So are you anti-Semitic by not believing in their god Baal? Punic, Phoenician, where we get all hooked on phonics, work for you. Is the BL. So the Hebrew Bible, Baal appears frequently as a foreign arrival deity, right? But then sometimes, while in early Israelite context, the title may have referred to Yahweh. So when you're worshiping Yahweh, and because the Sumerian and Phoenician and all that is the earliest written text, so you have to understand the etymology and where the words come from, and then you see what you're really talking about. So what you're really talking about is Baal. Yahweh in their version is Baal. So and they're all the same club. Like they say, George Carlin said, it's one big club and you ain't in it. So if you could decipher what the club is saying and where they get their origin stories from, you know what I'm saying? You can see what forms they take, because they take different forms. You know what I'm saying? They hit different forms. So sometimes it's Yahweh, sometimes it's Baal, sometimes coming out of Babylon, sometimes it's coming from Sumeria, Mesopotamia, and Iraq, and then it could go into all these other different things. But there is a coding, there's a footprints, there's breadcrumbs that you can show, even in Beelzebub. It has the ball in there, BL. So take the E's out, so you have Beelzebub, right? So it's there as well. And then classical sources rendered him as Belus. So Bel, B-E-L, Bel and Baal. So Elijah, so the Quran says is a false god. So if that is the false god for the Quran, which is based upon the Muslim or Islamic traditions or religion, then of course Baal would be the other version of that, which is the Semitics, which has to do with the Jewish religions, right? So see what's going on here? And Baal they sacrifice to Baal and all of that. Huge sacrifices to him, the children, and all of that. So you're seeing that stuff come out now and it play out in real time, because everybody that focuses on either Yahweh or focuses on the Bible and things like that is focused on Baal, playing ball, shit like that. Boom. So yeah. So Baal is Lord, and you have Bali as Lord. So check out the B and the A and the L, the BL. Everything's gonna be BL. Focus on the BL in regards to the nomenclature for Baal. So when you say Lord, it originates from Baal. So my Lord, Lord and Savior. Everything that comes from Lord comes from Baal. You could change it and, transmute it all you want, but understand where this shit comes from. Yahweh comes from Baal, synonym of Baal. Baal in this case was, determined the original. And there was more before him, but as far as what they're showing us from our current historical context is Baal. Yahweh is Baal, which means God is Baal. Names of God in Judaism, right? So understand that Baal is their God, and Baal is a lot of sacrifices and all that stuff going on. So if you look at the different sacrifices that have happened throughout history, and you see who's behind those scenes of wars, destruction, you know what I'm saying, things like that, you see why their God, they focus on their God and make you or make us focus on their God too and not know. So they take our power and our collective consciousness and then use that to feed their God, Baal. And their God Baal wants children. It wants babies. It wants flesh and blood, war, competition. So check out the other one. So even the other one in terms of Baal, Jerubbaal, the Lord strives. Eshbaal, the Lord is great. David's son, Beliada, the Lord knows. Beliah, the Lord is Jah. Yahweh is Baal. You know what I'm saying? So Jezebel, you know what I'm saying? The Jezebel, Bel and the Baal. Check out the Baal phonetics, and you'll see that all of the gods, a lot of the gods that, because Judaism controls a lot of different religions. They're like the anchor point. Jesus was a Jew, and Jewish people led Muhammad and taught him, and it was created. Islam in the current state was manufactured from the Jewish religion by Jewish people. And then they got beef. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy if you look at what's going on and what people put their energy towards, and actually the deities that we manifest by putting our energies towards this, and then trying to figure out like, all right, why is the world like this? The world is like this because we're worshiping their deities and have no clue what their deities are really up to. So Baal Haman, right? So even breaks into the Greek, and now it moves to Baal was identified with Kronos and Saturn, and Saturn ends up being what? Saturn is Satan in certain contexts. You know what I'm saying? Saturn is Santa, is Satan, and all of that. So it constantly makes its way through different time periods and different mythologies and different etymologies and things like that, because it's the same group of energies that is being remanufactured and repurposed for the current time. And right now that time is the Lord, and combination of the Lord, combination of Saturn or Saturday, Satan, and even Yahweh. It's the same team. It's the same team. Hegelian dialect from a spiritual level. It is the same damn team. So then boom, now since Christianity unified everything, then it's like, all right, well, Beelzebub is identified as Satan. So Saturn, Satan. Boom, New Testament, now it's the prince and king of the demons. Because Christianity just pulled everything together, and then they made all of the religions, all of the quote-unquote pagan religions into one. And now it's just God over here, his son, and then the devil. And the devil was like all the deities, the jinn and all the angels falling. It's just God and devil. And everybody else is like, all right, there's a couple angels here and there, but it's God and devil. Most people just look at, God and then devil, but then there's the son. It just doesn't make sense the way that they put it together. So I'm showing you how it flows over time. Roman, Baal, Sumerian, then it rolls into Greek, Saturn, which rolls into Christianity. They rolled it up into Satan, king of the demons. So now why is everybody on demon time and Baal is out here doing this thing? You know what I'm saying? Balling. You know what I mean? So again, the root, trilateral root, Baal, occurs 7 times in the Quran with the Semitic uses of owner or husband. For example, Sarah, the wife of Abraham, who was pretty much the head of the 3 religions, refers to a husband using the term owner. So that's why women are treated the way that they're treated in the Middle East from that area now, because they have submitted to these religions and these teachings that tell them that Baal is the husband, and the husband owns. It's like a step down level. You know what I'm saying? So if Baal's the main one, right, then somebody's the Lord, so it's a lower version of Baal, and then now he is the owner or husband of their wife, and that's why your wives have to submit to men. And there's a whole thing that goes into that. But just for now, I'm just focusing on Baal. Right? So boom, this is what I like to get into. Conspiracy theories. Boom, conspiracy facts. So on January 30th, 2026, blah, 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 the Epstein files mention the word Baal. So they're saying that there's worship of Baal, the satanic, Satan rituals, and the occult, and link it to Jeffrey Epstein, who comes from where? That area of the ISIS, Ra, and El area in the Middle East that's trying to, doing what they're doing, starting wars and all the stuff they got going on. And if you go back enough time, it's the horn god, because they focused on horn gods back then. So anybody throwing up the horns and all of that, guess what? Wow. But the purpose is to show, like, all right, do you want to be in league with Baal and Yahweh and Beelzebub and Satan and all that? Is that the type of time? Because you see where that energy is leading us and what's happening when we're focused on these energies. Because Yahweh is Baal, but if you notice, all that whole squad, that whole unit, that whole situation is the same set. Whether Jim Jones is beefing with Camp, they still come from the same set. They still come from the same area. They're still doing the same things. They just at odds. They're all within the same thing where they want you to serve them in competition. And of course, we serve each other and we correlate with each other and we correlate within. And when we do that, then we can collectively build. because that's what they were doing in Babylon, right? They were building something. And what did God do? Shut that down. So the empowerment of human beings is possible, but we have to understand what we're into and what we're up against, or what we put ourselves into and up against, and then we can make moves. And where you've been told, where you've been misled. Lack of knowledge is destroying everything, and it's unfolding more and more and more. Just tap in, hit AI. Like, yo, what's going on with this? What's Baal? Where does that come from? How does Yahweh? How does Allah set into that? How does Chronos? And how do all these? Then it'll roll it out right for you, easy peasy. So the choice, it's your choice to be in league. So it's like, oh my God, World War III. Yeah, but what are you doing to, whether it's fake or not, what are you doing to offset or balance the energy of what they got going on over there with the pedophilia and all of that? Because we've been telling you this for a long time. And niggas still is like, all right, well, I'll just do it my way. At least, like, if you don't know, you're just being steered into Baal's worship. You know what I'm saying? So at least understand what it is that you're doing. And when you do that, you can fly high. So honor and respect to everybody listening. Check out this clip from Mark Passio. He puts together a lot of the building of Baal. So I'll let him tell it. Bro Radio.
In the ancient world, the solar deity in the oldest civilizations on Earth was referred to as Bil or Bel. B-I-L or B-E-L. Now, the actual vowel in the middle is relatively unimportant because ancient languages did not have vowels. The consonant order that we're talking about here is B-L. He was depicted as the bull. Civilization rose in Taurus then. You trace those amounts of zodiacal houses back in the procession, that's about 6,000 years. That's how old the Sumerian tradition goes back. Time period of the world was Babylon. So they just named it a bill, right? Just it's accidental. There's no connection here. What do we want all those bills to do? Well, we need them to pay bills. Bill has to be paid, you know. The people who have the most of these bills are the billionaires. The ruling class are billionaires. They long ago took all the gold bullion on Wall Street. There's their god, the golden bull of Wall Street. They always want bull markets. They don't like it when there's bear markets. Society, or most of them anyway, are distracted by the Baal. They want to grow up to either be a bell or a baller. Music, which the dark occult worked through, is called the billboards. Actors are given billing in Hollywood. The Masons are referred to as the builders. Secret societies, the biggest think tank occult secret societies in the world, is the Bilderberg Group. Well, you think that's accidental that the first place they met was the Bilderberg Hotel? Bilderberg means the foundation of Bill. They're rigidly attached to their belief system. And that's the belief systems, the belief systems that they give everybody. And like the Bill of Rights and the Liberty Bell, positive symbols for human freedom in our society. Maybe they could even listen to some of the words of wisdom in the New Testament of the Bible. The Bible.